All right, so on to the third part of this question, and it's something we've seen before. It's the actual cash flow statement. All right, so the cash flow statement is the one where you need to remember these headings that are put in as part of the question. There's often marks going for these. As I said, at ordinary level, you're given these headings in the question usually. Higher level, you're expected to know them. Okay, so it is operating activities, and all you're going to get under that is the answer to our previous part. But then it's return on investment in servicing of finance, taxation, capital expenditure and financial investment, equity dividends paid. You're going to sum that and you'll get net cash flow before liquid resources and financing. And then it is management of liquid resources, which we might have seen before, financing, and then finally our answer, an increase or a decrease in cash. Sorry, some of that might have been cut off. You'll find this in the book on page 411, just kind of a sample one with all the headings in it. And also they put in what typically goes in each section. Some of them more common than others, but page 411 and 412 is where to find those headings and what can possibly go under each heading in the book. But you'll kind of, I suppose, see what comes up under each heading as you do this example and you do other questions. All right. So as I said, it starts with your net cash flow from operating activities, and that is just your answer to the previous part you did. So it's 193,100 for this question. All right. So next up then is return on investment and servicing of finance. Okay. So return on investment, this is your like investment income, so interest received or investment income received. Servicing of finance is usually your interest paid. Okay. So I'll start with the interest paid. And this is where I said before, the book tends to kind of spread this over a couple of pages, and I think unnecessarily kind of makes a bit of a meal out of these workings. I would generally tend to do most of them just kind of in brackets after the heading. There's a couple where I might do a working on this one. But first up, interest paid. So the interest actually paid this year. So that 5,600 interest due at the end of last year, I'll assume that's paid. And then what I'm adding on is the interest that I figured out for the abridged profit and loss. So that in previous examples would have been given to us in the profit and loss, but I figured that's 17,500. So I'll assume a lot of that 17,500 has been paid. But then at the end of this year, it tells me there's still 3,000 unpaid. So I'll take that away. So you assume that 5,600 is paid plus the 17,500 charge in the profit and loss for this year. But then we see that there's 3,000 unpaid, so we take that away. So just sum those and you will get 20,100, and that's interest paid. So that's an outflow of cash. All right. I'm just going to put that in a separate column and then kind of total it. So just a bit tight for space here because I'm trying to fit it on the page. So minus 20,100. The other thing then, so then your interest received, okay, so your investment income that you would have done. So again, as part of the abridged profit and loss, I got investment income of 12,000 euro. There's no investment income due or prepaid anywhere, so I'm just putting that in, okay. So investment income, 12,000. All right, so that is an outflow of cash of 8,100. All right, so I'm going to take that away in coming to this figure down here. Next up is taxation. So this can be tax paid or received, usually paid in the questions. So again, just go to your so normally what I would have to do, or what I've done up to now in ordinary level ones, is actually figured out what the tax paid is. But I'm actually told in this question it's 43,000. So normally I'm given what was due, what is due, and the charge for the year. On this one, I was actually given what was paid, and I had to figure out the charge for the income and or for the profit and loss account. So that 43 I can just put straight in. So tax paid during the period is 43,000 euro. Okay, so up till now I've kind of figured that out the same way as I have interest there, but in this one I'm given the number. All right. Capital expenditure and financial investment then. So this is where we will put in any purchases of new fixed assets, any receipts from the sale of fixed assets. So I kind of mentioned that earlier in the previous video. Other stuff up here. So up in our kind of fixed asset section, yeah. So I have kind of purchasing new financial investments, fixed financial assets. So they'll go in here as well. So capital expenditure, I'll put those in first actually because they're probably easiest. So your investments, so payments to acquire financial investments or purchase of financial investments. Payments to acquire financial investments, and just in brackets then, this is going to be going from 80 to 120. So that's quite small, but that's an outflow of 40,000 because you've gone from 80,000 of investments to 120,000. So you've bought another 40,000 of investments. So that's an outflow of cash of 40,000 euro. All right, so there's 40 of an outflow.